Welcome to the Carlos Whitaker Podcast. This is episode 28, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to do the old rap. Ready? Men, women, and children, hope is in the building. Hey. Oh, I know some of you guys missed that. Hey. Welcome. I'm really excited. I feel like a professor today. Let me explain as we fade out. Dr. Delight. Welcome to another episode of the Carlos Whitaker Podcast, the first of 6, where we are unpacking the 6 pillars of don't stand on issues, walk with people. We've got pillars now. We talked about them last week. Last week's episode, if you haven't listened to last week's, I'm not saying it's vital, but I'm saying it is pretty important. Let's fade out Dr. Delight all the way here. Actually, hold on, I'm going to fade him back up. I don't know, I'm going to try to talk over him just really lightly. Brad, the podcast editor, can you just have Dr. Delight in the back? Let's see what it's like if we play the song out. We're just going to try that this week. Last week's episode was back on assignment. 6 pillars for pursuing unity in the midst of division and rage. Let me read what the subtitle was. We're diving into the madness that is that America is living in. Yes, we're talking about Trump. We talked about Trump last week. The madness. Oh, hold on. That is my wife that is calling me right now. We've got a mess of stuff happening. I'm just going to leave this in the podcast. Hold on, I'm going to put her in here. Hello?
Did you already leave?
No, baby, I'm recording my podcast right now.
I forgot to let my chickens out and I just remembered.
Okay, I'll do that when I leave. Love you.
Okay, what time are you leaving?
Baby, I'm literally you're on the podcast right now.
Oh, hi, podcast.
Okay, I love you.
You tell Carlos to let my chickens out.
Okay, bye. Okay. Wow. I don't even know. What is happening? Oh my gosh, I'm just trying to... Okay, where was I? Just go back last week and listen to last week's podcast, okay? Okay, there it went. Oh, you know what? Oh. I think half of the chaos was just I think Dr. Delight does not deserve to be underneath my entire intro. I think after Dr. Delight drops down to the vibe, it needs to go out, Brad. I'm saying keep it here because it's worth the chaos of Heather calling about her chicken coop while Dr. Delight's beat is in everybody's ears and I'm confused and it was just chaos. So, Dr. Delight, you no longer have the opportunity to serenade us the entire intro. Back to the podcast. And please, podcast listeners, can you remind me to let Heather's chickens out before I leave? Don't stand on issues, walk with people. Really quickly, I'm not going to dive into all of the, unpacking all the pillars, but I am going to read the pillars, okay? Again, we're a generation drowning in division. Ideological battle lines are drawn. Echo chambers amplify our outrage. And empathy withers on the vine. Literally, it's withering. Friendships are strained and progress stalled. We're called to stand our ground, to be warriors for our causes. But the question that these pillars came out of is, but what if there's a better way? And also, whenever I would say, I don't stand on issues. When someone's like, Carlos, where do you stand on, abortion? Where do you stand on LGBTQ rights? Where do you stand on, I always say, I don't stand on issues. I walk with people. Do you want me to tell you about the stories of the people I walk with that are affected by the issue that you're standing on? Then we can have a conversation. And within that conversation of me walking with people that are affected by the issues that we're standing on, maybe that will breathe a little empathy into the room. So what are the 6 pillars? Quickly again. I won't unpack them, but I'll read them. We seek understanding, not victory, meaning we prioritize listening and learning over winning arguments. We believe both are possible. We hold our beliefs fiercely, but we hold them with open hands and not clenched fists. Number 2, we hold conviction alongside compassion. We hold our principles passionately, but we acknowledge the humanity of those who disagree. We reject the false choice between unwavering principles and genuine human connection. Number 3, we walk alongside, not ahead or behind. We acknowledge the complexities of human experience. We understand that the path to a better future is paved with diverse perspectives. Number 4, we chase civility, not silence. We reject the false choice between conviction and kindness. That's a false choice. You don't have to make a choice between the two. They can both coexist. We can disagree fiercely, but with respect and commitment to finding common ground. And, there's one more. We are not naive. This is number 5. We are not naive. We know walking with those who disagree can be messy, challenging, and even infuriating. Ain't gonna lie. But we believe the alternative, a world fractured by division, is far worse. And last but not least, we believe in action over apathy. We don't just walk, we walk towards solutions, right? So it's not like we're just walking in circles. Oh no, I said I'm not going to unpack these things yet. Finding common ground often means identifying areas where we can collaborate even with differing perspectives. So today, on today's episode, we are going to be going over the first pillar. We seek understanding, not victory. What does that mean? What does it mean to seek understanding over seeking victory? One of the statements that is no longer used in America, a phrase that you rarely hear anymore, is the phrase, "I don't know. I don't know." And I feel like that's a problem. I have a whole chapter on this. In my upcoming book, Reconnected, How 7 Screen-Free Weeks with Monks and Amish Farmers Helped Me Recover the Lost Art of Being Human. Can I tell you, when I didn't have podcasts to listen to, and I didn't have Twitter to scroll, and I didn't have any content to consume giving me the scaffolding to build ideas very quickly and opinions very quickly on conversations I was having, I realized I didn't know a lot. And I said, I don't know a lot. And can I tell you how freeing it was when I was with the Amish and when I was with the monks, and I never had a screen. I never consumed any content. I never got these opinions to fill my head. How freeing it was to just be like, I don't know. I didn't know so much. And now I think we no longer seek understanding because we feel like we know everything. We feel like we understand everything. Can I tell you, Carlos Whitaker podcast listeners, that is a facade. You do not know. You are not an expert on humanitarian crises across the world because you've listened to 2 podcast episodes and you follow somebody on Twitter. We're just not. And so to form entire worldviews based on nuggets of information that we're quickly learning does not an expert make. Think about what an expert is. I mean, what is it? What does Google say? What does Google say being an expert? How long does it take to become an expert in something? Ready? Let's just see. Of course, it's going to go to Malcolm Gladwell, but here we go. Let's not go to Malcolm Gladwell. Let's go Erickson. No, we'll just read this one. The time it takes to become an expert in something can vary depending on the skill and the individual. Some of y'all smarter than me, okay? So I know it'll be faster. But some say it can take at least 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. Canadian journalist Malcolm Gladwell popularized the idea of the 10,000 hour rule in his book Outliers. Great book, by the way. I recommend it. Which suggests that this amount of time is needed to master a skill through focused practice. However, others believe that it can take as many as 20,000 to 25,000 hours to truly master a subject or a skill. In addition to time spent practicing, becoming an expert also requires other factors, ready? Such as specialized knowledge, problem-solving skills. Listen, the amount of people that are acting like they've got understanding over every single geopolitical issue on planet Earth that have zero problem-solving skills, that just wipes out 99% of Twitter. Practical application, self-assessment. Oh my gosh. Self-assessment, that's something else that's disappeared. And negative feedback. Some say that practicing in short sessions, such as 45 minutes a day, can be effective. Others recommend removing distractions and pre-committing to at least 20 hours of practice. Practice. Self-assessment. Problem-solving skills. Specialized knowledge. 20 to 25,000 hours. Friends, we need to seek understanding more. The statement is, when I say prioritize listening and learning over winning arguments, when I say we seek understanding, not victory, understanding just means that we've got to get to the place where we know that we don't know. We know that we don't know. Say it with me, wherever you're at. I know that I don't know. Oh, I know. It may be hard for some of y'all to say that. You may be walking around a pond right now. You may be driving in your car. I'm going to ask you to say it one more time. Okay? It may be hard because you may think you know. I love to know. But we're going to say it together. 1, 2, 3. I know that I don't know. Some of you didn't say it. We're going to try it again. 1, 2, 3. I know that I don't know. Man, can we just say that over and over and over again? Let's define understanding. It's going beyond simply hearing information and truly grasping another person's perspective. Okay? That's what it means to seek understanding. Understanding does not exist without empathy. There has to be empathy. Putting yourself in someone else's shoes to understand their experience and feelings is vital to truly understanding. So, what do we do? I think within the confines of the statement that we're making, okay, we seek understanding, not victory. Let's just sit with understanding for a minute. That's the first thing, okay? To understand, you've got to be an active listener. You have to be an active listener. What does that mean? Active listening is so important. It means being present in the conversation, like truly present. Let me give you another example. I know for the next 10 years of my life, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna let these 7 weeks that I did not look at a single screen. It's not gonna leave my view, because it's changed everything about how I listen to people, how I understand people. Being present in the conversation, active listening, really it's a skill, okay? Making eye contact and using body language. So something that I had to do right away when I didn't have a screen any longer was I was so uncomfortable listening to somebody, because a lot of times we listen with a phone in our hand. And can I tell you something? I was leaning forward. I wasn't able to really look around. I was showing that I was engaged. Okay. Now here's the ticket. Here's something that happened to me during my 7 weeks without a screen that made me a better active listener, which made me a better understander. I never, not one time for 7 weeks, had a single notification go off on my body. I didn't have a ding, a bzz. Nothing took me away from the moment I was in being present with the person across from me. Now, how mind-blowing was that for me? I want you to just think about the last hour. Has there been a ding or a buzz that has taken you away from the moment that you're in? And you've gone to your phone? Even if you just look down for a second, even if you don't even look at your phone, if you just feel it in your pocket, it takes you out of the present moment, and you time travel somewhere else. You literally go to an alternate universe, a universe that you're no longer in. You now go from being present to in your head back to being present. That never happened to me. So I think I was able to seek understanding so much better because I removed distractions, and I was able to be an active listener. So if you're going to try to truly seek understanding, okay, if this is truly the goal, not victory, maybe when you enter into conversations with people, don't bring your phone. Leave it somewhere else. Put it in another room. Definitely put it on silent, not vibrate, because a bzz, bzz is the same thing as a ding ding. It's the same. If you hear it, you hear it. You're out. Put it on do not disturb. Put it on airplane mode. Get it away from you. And now you're able to be a better active listener. I've removed all notifications off my phone except for my family, and only my family if they call, not text. Because if they need something, they're going to call me. So even their text notifications, they don't ding anymore. It's so freeing. Oh my gosh. Okay, so being present to the conversation, super important. Did you know that typical children's vitamins are basically candy in disguise, filled with 2 teaspoons of sugar, unhealthy chemicals, and other gummy junk that your growing kids just should never eat? This is why Hiya was created. Hiya is the pediatrician-approved, super-powered chewable vitamin. What in the world makes it super-powered? Let me tell you. It's formulated with the help of nutritional experts, and it's pressed with a blend of 12 organic fruits and veggies, and then supercharged, here it is, with 15 essential vitamins and minerals, including vitamin D, B12, C, zinc, and folate, and so many more. Hiya is designed for kids of all ages and sent straight to your door so parents have one less thing to worry about. We've worked out a special deal with Hiya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you must go to hiyahealth.com/humanhope. This deal is not available on their regular website. Go to hiyahealth.com/humanhope to get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. Did you know that Americans spend an average of 90% of their time indoors and take about 20,000 breaths a day? The indoor air we breathe is 2 to 5 times more polluted than the outdoor air, and in some cases, up to 100 times more polluted. First of all, have you ever thought about the fact that we take 20,000 breaths a day and how you don't have to think about breathing unless you think about breathing and then you start stressing out because you're like, what if I forget to breathe? That's what my brain goes to all the time. I don't know why. What do we do to solve this polluted air problem inside of our homes? Introducing the Air Doctor. Air Doctor filters out 99.99% of dangerous contaminants so your lungs don't have to. This includes pollutants such as allergens, pollen, pet dander, y'all allergic to dogs and cats, dust mites, mold spores, and even bacteria that makes you sick. Air Doctor comes with a 30-day breathe easy money back guarantee, so if you don't love it, just send it back for a refund minus the shipping. We've loved ours. It's still humming behind our sofa upstairs. Head to airdoctorpro.com and use promo code HUMANHOPE. You'll receive up to $300 off air purifiers. Exclusive to podcast customers, you will also receive a free 3-year warranty on any unit, which is an additional $84 value. Lock in this special offer by going to airdoctorpro.com and use promo code HUMANHOPE. Here's something really good. Letting silence pass. Let the other person think. Don't insert your own ideas to fill their gaps. Just because somebody stops talking doesn't mean you got to start talking. Just because somebody stops talking does not mean you need to start talking. Silence is okay in conversations. We've lost that ability too. We're scared of silence. We're definitely scared of silence when we're standing or sitting in front of somebody in the middle of a conversation. Well, why are they being quiet? Well, because they're thinking. Do you ever? Sorry, I feel like I'm being a little. Yes, and that's okay. I'm being a little. I never said the word that I was being. Just forward in my conversation with this because I'm just. Oh my gosh, just in the last week, right? Like we went now. I just think that Twitter is and social media comments is the wrong place. It's actually impossible. It's impossible to be an active listener on social media. It is impossible because there's too many other things flying around. And the emotions that you feel, actually think about this. if you really are truly seeking understanding, the emotions that rise up inside of you, the rage that rises up inside of you as you're scrolling a screen aren't actually based in reality. Because in reality, if you were having a conversation with somebody face to face, breath to breath, those emotions of rage would not rise up as quickly as they do on a screen. They wouldn't. Unless there's some sort of threat against your life in that moment, I can understand how that is, unless you're being dehumanized in the moment. But most of the time, if you go back to one of my reels I put up, I guess it was when I was on my way to Tanzania, I said, I know that the media wants us to think that everyone hates each other and we're rage-filled. And then I flipped the camera around and showed the airport lobby, thousands of people walking around. Not a single person was pointing their finger in another person's face. These are people with differing perspectives. They were people, they were Muslims, they were Christians, they were atheists, they were conservatives, they were liberals, they were libertarians. They were all these people just walking around, actually probably looking out for each other. And I just wanted to show a quick clip of like, this is actually what the real world is. And it doesn't bring about rage as quickly as the fake world of social media. I say fake because it is. It's a make-believe fairy tale land. I try to give a glimpse into reality as much as I can. But it's just never going to be reality. I try to show my dad. I try to show people and help people understand what it's like to care for somebody with dementia. But truthfully, I'll never be able to truly do that on social media. I give you nuggets. There's music behind it. Like it's like, it's emotional in ways. Some days it's not even emotional for me. Some days I'm just numb to it. I can't ever show you exactly what that is on social media. You'll never be able to truly understand. That's why we've got to get offline and have these conversations face to face. Let silence pass. Let silence be there. Man, I am fired up today. Also, active listening. Don't interrupt. If you're having a conversation and someone else is speaking, if you feel it rising up, if you actually, for me, a common way that I know that I'm about to interrupt somebody is when my left hand starts going up. If my left hand starts going up, like pointing a finger, that means I'm about to go, but no buts. Try it today. Have a conversation with somebody and don't interrupt them. Because what it actually means is you're being present to the conversation. You're letting them talk without thinking about what you're trying to say later. Okay, this is active listening. Okay, this is understanding. And this is hard because this is the opposite of seeking victory. If you're seeking victory, you're planning your attack while you're listening to the conversation. You're not listening. You're not actually listening. So you're planning your attack while you're not listening to the conversation, while you're only picking up a couple words here and there. Is Fired Up Carlos okay on the Carlos Whitaker podcast? I don't think you've had Carlos Whitaker, the Fired Up Carlos Whitaker on the Carlos Whitaker podcast yet. Fired up. Don't interrupt. Don't do it. Stop yourself. Don't do it. Something that actually helps in seeking understanding is asking open-ended questions to expand the other person's ideas, because that's what's going to happen. When you ask an open-ended question, okay, what that's going to do is it's going to allow them to not drill down like a funnel, right? So like a funnel goes from wide to narrow. And if a conversation, a lot of times we're always at the narrow point of the funnel. But I think what asking open-ended questions does is it flips the funnel upside down and we almost go from narrow to wide. Whoa. What a concept. What a freaking concept. Flip the funnel upside down. Let's do some examples of like open-ended questions. Okay. Tell me a bit more about why you believe this. So someone's going to tell you their opinion on an issue. Okay. So the whole statement here, right? This is the first pillar of we don't stand on issues, walk with people. So if you're seeking understanding and not victory in a conversation about a certain issue, the way I think to allow the conversation to be safer as you're seeking understanding is to flip the funnel over. Flip the funnel over. Put that on a bumper sticker stat. Tell me a little bit more about why you believe this. Take me, how about this? How about what differences do you expect to interact with when you're having this conversation with me about this? Because we may view this thing a little different. How about that one? What do you think I believe? Great open-ended question, because it could be just be one, but then if they just give you one, say, okay, what else do you think I believe? Well, I think that's it. No, there's more things I believe. And allow them, when you ask an open-ended question, it doesn't just expand your own horizons, it expands theirs as well. Okay, so something else that's very important, you learn this in therapy a lot. From if you're a therapist, you're really good at this. I'm not a therapist, but I try to do this as much as possible. When you're seeking understanding, you also paraphrase, okay? Paraphrase and restate what you have heard. Very important. Every single conversation you have that feels, I don't know, a little fiery, just come back with, okay, so, and both of you have to do this. So like, again, tell the other person to do the same thing to you. Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that you don't want your guns taken away because you're scared for the safety of your family. Is that what I'm hearing you say? Well, I mean, no, I'm not saying that I think we're going to get attacked, but okay, you see what happened is that paraphrase of what you heard allowed them to restate what it is that they are saying. But what I'm actually saying is I just feel like if we take away these rights, it's just going to be the beginning of taking away the rest of our rights. Oh, okay. So guess what? Suddenly I've realized, and we both realized, that what I'm hearing you say is that the conversation actually isn't about guns. It's about rights. Well, no. It is about guns because guns are important. Oh, okay. So actually the conversation that we're having, because again, you've asked an open-ended question, isn't about just guns. It's about rights as well. Do you think that maybe we can have two conversations? Because right now I thought we were having a conversation about guns, which is totally fine to have a conversation about rights too. Totally fine. I just feel like we need to separate those. Well, they're one and the same. Oh, okay. So what I hear you say is that having rights and owning guns are the same thing. Because so what you're doing, and again, don't be condescending when you say it, but when you're when you ask open-ended questions and when you paraphrase what you've just heard, what it does is it just gives back to the person the opportunity to clarify what it is that they're saying to you. Listen, if there is one skill that I am really good at, it's this one. And the reason why is I don't think I could have raised teenagers without it. If you're a parent and you don't know how to ask open-ended questions and then paraphrase and restate what you've heard, all you're doing is giving back to them what it is they're telling you. And you do it calmly. So good. And then last but not least, withholding judgment and advice unless explicitly asked for. Can you do it? Can we not be advice givers? Can we just have conversations where the whole goal is to understand? Where the goal isn't just to change their mind. I feel like we have such a need to like get things quickly. I think this is because of Amazon and the internet. We could just get things in a second now, right? There's a thing called Amazon Prime Now. Maybe it's not even called that anymore. Maybe it's just within Amazon Prime, but you can get things like within an hour delivered to you. You know, what's the grocery one? Instacart. Get something to your door in like 60 minutes. And now sometimes I'm like, I legitimately am like, oh my gosh, I wish I could get it in 15 minutes. Like everything's just fast. We also think this with conversations and with arguments. We also think that we've got to solve the problem in one conversation. No. No. I got a buddy of mine. We are on year 4 of a conversation, and we don't have it very often. But when we do, it's good because we're just I've been seeking to understand for 4 years. And within that seeking to understand, can I tell you something? He sought to understand too. There's been a little bit of movement on his part and a little bit of movement on my part towards coming to a consensus of like, well, maybe if we poured a little bit of your idea and a little bit of my idea, then things could work out. There's never been I think I said this last week, there's never been anything that's been accomplished in America without some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my gosh, the word is gone. Without us coming to consensus and compromise. That's the word. There's never been anything that has moved forward in America without some sort of compromise. Every single thing we do, decision we make requires some sort of compromise. If it is a group decision, someone in the group is going to have to compromise. So, withhold judgment and advice unless explicitly asked for. Okay, I'm going longer than I wanted to. What do you guys think? Where are we? Let's take a quick break and we'll be back on the other side. If y'all are looking for somebody to come in and make your company or organization, or even if you just need an assistant or something that's going to make your business run better, if you're looking for somebody and you're not looking at Indeed, then you're looking in the wrong places. I need to tell you, if you need to hire, you do need Indeed. I love that rhymes. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors. It's incredible. Ditch the busy work and use Indeed for not only hiring, but scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with your candidates faster. One of the things I love about Indeed is the user interface. It makes things so easy. You don't have to be like internet computer systems analysis management professional in order to pull this thing off. It is so easy. I love it. And listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit. That's huge. To get your job more visibility at Indeed.com/humanhope. Just go to Indeed.com/humanhope right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/humanhope. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. When I started Instagramming, the last thing I thought I was going to need was an online store, right? I mean, I was just like posting pictures of my cat and like my kids and I don't know, a tree or a sunset. Little did I know that I would build this thing called the Insta Familia with almost 300,000 members that are just ready to support me and my family by buying things. It's really incredible. So I decided to use Shopify, and Shopify was the greatest decision I've ever made because it makes things so easy. I've sold shirts on there. I now sell my books on there. I sell all sorts of things that the Insta Familia loves, and I use Shopify. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. So no matter what the stage is, Shopify will help you sell. Get this, Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the United States. And Shopify's the global force behind all sorts of gigantic companies as well. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Carlos. All lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Carlos now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Carlos. All right. We talked about understanding. Now let's talk about seeking victory. Okay. So we talked about seeking understanding. Seeking victory is the opposite of passive listening. Excuse me. Of active listening, it is passive listening. Okay. There's a couple of things that you can tell right away that you are suddenly seeking victory. When you've gone from seeking understanding to seeking victory, you can see it. You can smell it a mile away. Okay. The first way you can learn that you're seeking victory, or you can see someone else seeking victory, is if you're hearing the other person, but not letting the words sit with you or you're not working to understand them. Okay. So if you're not paraphrasing and restating what you heard, if you're just coming back with a counter argument, you're trying to win. That's called seeking victory. We can't. Okay. If, we're going to kind of hammer through these pretty quickly because I'm just going to tell you what these things are so you can stop doing them. The other things take practice. The active listening, the seeking understanding takes work. It takes no work to be a passive listener. It takes no work to seek victory. So just hear these things and try to not do them, okay? So hearing the other person but not letting the words sit with you or working to understand them, done. Number 2, something else that'll show you that you're seeking victory instead of understanding is letting distraction rule, right? So that's the whole phone thing. Literally, I don't want to say just because you got a phone vibrating in your pocket, you are not seeking understanding, but you're not seeking understanding because you're allowing other things to distract you. Okay. If you're ADD, don't have a deep conversation at a coffee shop, right? And I always say to do it face to face if you can. Try to not do these unless you can. I'm grateful for FaceTime. I'm grateful I can have deep conversations with people that live far away from me. But normally, I'm just if you've got family situations and you disagree politically, you're probably not going to convince the other person over a FaceTime call to come over to your side of the aisle. Anyway, don't let distractions rule. Also, you can tell that you are being a bad understander or a good victory seeker if you're not letting your body lean into what is being said. I'm telling you, you can tell when somebody is into the conversation or not. So if you're going to have a conversation with somebody that is sprightly and important to both of you, don't look past them. Don't be distracted by what's behind them. The second you do that, it's gone. Can I tell you the number of times that I was in the middle of a deep conversation with somebody during my 7 weeks and their phone would go off in their pocket, and even though they wouldn't reach into their pocket, I could see their mind disconnect from the conversation I was in. They left. And it showed me that they weren't seeking understanding. Now, there's passive listening. There's also hostile listening. Here's the other things we should stay away from. Having your mind made up before the conversation even begins. If you're closed off to new or different ideas, what's the point? Okay? Don't do that. Don't go in with your mind made up. You can have your belief. You can have your principle that you believe in, but why don't you go in with the willingness to learn something new that may add to the principle or take away a little bit from the principle? Again, we live in a world where we think we know it all, that we're all experts. We are not. Say it again. I don't know everything. No, what was it? I know, I don't know. That's it. That was a statement. Say it with me. I know, I don't know. I am, I got something in my eye. Sorry. YouTube watchers that just watched me dig into my eyeball. Number 2, under hostile listening. Okay. Even closing off your body with your arms crossed, you're pulled back, you're stoic, you're not smiling, you're not nodding, you're just like, man, ain't nobody want to have a conversation with somebody like that. Uncross your arms. I like to cross my arms because it feels good, but when I'm in a serious conversation with somebody, I always uncross them. Why? Because it makes the person across from you feel like you're closed off, like you're hostile. Okay? Don't just listen for things to refute. If when it's your turn to talk, all you're saying is, well, listen, this is why you're wrong. That's hostile listening. Don't do that. Again, all of these things go away if you just practice the active listening. So passive listening, again, seeking victory. You're hearing the other person, but you're not letting the words sit with you, working to understand them. You're letting distractions rule you. You're not showing that you are actively engaged. You're holding your body in a way that's not. You have your mind made up before you get to the conversation. Your body language closed off. You're only listening for things to argue about. Those are things that means you're seeking victory. And not one single conversation you have where you're seeking victory is going to go well. I'm just letting you know. Think about it with your kids. If you're just seeking victory, even if you're right, the relationship may get wronged. Why are there just diamonds being dropped from my pie hole accidentally? Even if you're right, your relationship, what did I say? May be wronged? Is that what I said? Whatever I said right before I said that thing. Somebody DM me or tweet me or, mention me and tell me what I said, because I think that was good. Okay. A couple more things and then we're done. Acknowledge that everyone's worldview shapes their experiences and opinions on how they think the world should operate. Okay. Everyone brings their own worldview to the table. The only way to fully understand their views is to attempt to step into their world and acknowledge the ways in which you could never experience the world in which they do. 2020, I was able to bring a large chunk of white evangelicals into my world as a Black evangelical person of color in the South. And a lot of people were like, it's funny, like even right now, people keep sending me, Carlos, you haven't said anything about all the neo-Nazis that are marching around Nashville. I'm like, man, homie, I'm probably living next to these people. Like I live that every single day. Just because they're marching downtown Nashville, it's like, okay, they're marching with masks on. Well, I'm living with people with their masks off. Not saying that I got neo-Nazis in my neighborhood, but there's a large chance that there is somebody with very racist views that I'm living with every single day. So I don't have to go downtown to see that. I get to see that at the grocery store. I guess what I'm trying to say is, people were shocked when they suddenly stepped into my worldview and realized that like Nazis marching downtown actually isn't the problem. It's a problem for sure. But the problem isn't the people that are marching downtown. It's the people that believe that are just living in your neighborhood. I think that's another nugget. Goodness gracious. Okay. So do that, right? That's what my entire last book is. Okay. I stepped into the world of monks and Amish. I stepped into their world and acknowledged the ways that I could never experience the world in the way that they do. That's what I did in my book. Can I tell you, me and the Amish do not believe a lot of the same things. But when I stepped into their world, I suddenly understood. Oh, wait a second. I knew that you guys didn't like cars, but I thought it's because you thought cars were evil. Oh, wait a second. I knew that you guys don't like your photo taken, but I thought it was because you thought your soul would disappear and, be given to the devil. Oh, it's just because it's because you don't want strangers taking pictures of your kids. That makes sense. I don't want strangers taking pictures of my kids too. Maybe I'm a little bit Amish. I figured out there was understanding that happened when I stepped into their world and allowed myself to see the world through their perspective. Listen, we're not going to get this right all the time. But I believe when we seek understanding and not seek victory, when we're seeking understanding, we're not seeking victory, I believe that things can rapidly heal. Again, I got a buddy of mine that we've been on this journey for 4 years now. And our relationship is getting healed more and more. We still, homeboys, listen, maybe some of you guys are super ultra MAGA, but he showed up, me and him were hanging out the other week. He shows up with his MAGA hat on. And he's just kind of laughing as he walks in. And I mean, y'all know, I mean, listen, it doesn't take you don't have to be a sociologist to rapidly realize that that's not me. I'm not hip to that. And he's laughing and I'm kind of laughing. And, he's like, well, I just bought this the other day when finally I had to buy something when they tried to kill him. And I said, okay, and he's wearing it. And so this is one of my best friends. We see the world very differently. We do not believe a lot of the same things, but we understand each other's reasons for believing the things we believe now. Why? Because we both sought to understand. You know what I actually did? I said, hey man, can I put that hat on my head? And he starts laughing. He's like, why, you want to take a picture and make fun of me? I was like, no, of course not. I just want to feel what you feel. So I put that hat on my head and I pretended, he was watching me dying laughing. I pretended like I suddenly got stronger. And I go, nah, it didn't do nothing for me. He started laughing. One thing I didn't even talk about is using humor. Okay. Like resist the urge to just be serious all the time. Listen, I'm going to make fun of him for a long time for wearing that bright red, ugly hat. I'm going to be funny about it. Humor is actually okay. It's okay to make fun of each other. It's like in a fun way. It's okay to joke. Use humor. Lighten the load. Lighten some things up. Insta Familia, was this good? I mean, this is just the first one. Gosh, I like this kind of stuff. Okay. We seek understanding, not victory. We prioritize listening and learning over winning arguments. We believe both are possible. We hold our beliefs fiercely, but we hold them with open hands and not clenched fists. Dr. Delight. Next week, we move to the next pillar. We hold conviction alongside compassion. What does that look like? Well, we're going to talk about that next week on the Carlos Whitaker podcast. Put the needle on the record and the drum beat goes like this. Thanks for being here. I'm so grateful for you. Hey, listen, I believe that these episodes are the most important episodes that I put out this year. Reason being is because we are living in contentious times, and don't stand on issues, walk with people needs to be on the forefront of all of our minds as we enter into all of these conversations, into the season, into Twitter, into the media, into all the spaces where they want you to stand on issues and not walk with people. That's not us. Hey, thanks for listening to the Carlos Whitaker podcast. We'll be back next week with pillar number 2. Thank you.